Well, just across North Rampart from the WWL studios is the historic Treme neighborhood, considered sacred ground to the culture bearers of New Orleans.
But today, many feel Treme is in trouble of losing that cultural identity. The neighborhood that was once vibrant and filled with music has gone silent.
So we ask, what happened to Treme, and can we stop this community from losing more cultural ground? Here's part one of my special report, Death of a Neighborhood, Survival of a Culture. It's Sunday in New Orleans, and there's energy surging through the streets of Treme.
It's cold, y'all. $5 joints.
Today's a beautiful day. You ready? All right, you gonna walk it all up the parade?
It's a familiar sound and smell, and as time passes, a growing excitement. A crowd gathers in the streets, anxiously awaiting the call of a drum. The sound signifies it's time to second line. The Black Men of Labor has paraded for more than 25 years after the death of famed musician Danny Barker, who believed in upholding the traditional jazz standard.
Danny single-handedly cultivated the traditional brass band music because it was dying. Danny said, if we don't teach these young guys how to play this music, through attrition, we're gonna lose.
And as tradition would have it, the Social Aid and Pleasure Club's second line through Faubourg Treme, considered sacred ground to many. But when the music slows down during the dirge, mourning ensues. The parade moves somberly down the street, some remembering the death of a friend, loved one, musician, or public figure. Others mourning the death of a neighborhood.
This is not mystery. This is our history. It's all about the culture.
From Esplanade to St. Louis, Broad to North Rampart, Treme is considered ground zero for culture and activism in America. The oldest integrated neighborhood, free people of color thrived with more than 80% owning land in Treme during slavery in the Deep South. It's home to one of the earliest known civil rights movements in the South, dating back to the 19th century, when residents formed the Citizens Committee selecting Treme resident Homer Plessy to directly challenge segregated railroad car laws in Louisiana. Plessy versus Ferguson would lead to the separate but equal doctrine we know as Jim Crow laws. And businesses line the streets of Claiborne Avenue, providing a solid economic base for Treme. And then there's the music. From Louis Armstrong playing in the red light district known as Storyville and jazz clarinetist Alphonse Picou, to Benny Jones striking up with the Treme Brass Band and trombone Shorty picking up his first horn, jazz was born on these streets and passed down from generation to generation.
I can remember seeing trombone Shorty and his literally, and his little brass band in diapers playing on, sorry, Shorty. Yeah. Playing on plastic trombones and beating on pots and boxes.
Musicians, educators, artists, craftsmen, political activists, all would find themselves immersed in one of New Orleans' first suburbs, the neighborhood that was the multicultural epicenter of New Orleans.
Good evening, everybody.
Including Kermit Ruffins.
Musically, do you think New Orleans would be what it is without Treme?
I'm quite sure that Treme contribute at least 65 to 75% of this culture as far as jazz is concerned, and the birthplace of jazz in New Orleans.
Treme brought the world-renowned musician to the neighborhood when he was just 18 years old, just a few miles down from the Lower Ninth Ward.
And I fell in love with it, and I never went back to the Lower Ninth Ward. I wanted to wake up in the heart of the Treme, where The music was real popular and real vibrant. I mean, on any given day, it would look like Mardi Gras at 9 in the morning.
Well, what is Treme right now?
Treme was one of the best neighborhoods in America.
Treme as we knew it is dead. It has died.
Why do you say that?
Because all the juice has been, all the oxygen has been sucked out of the room. The cultural oxygen, the children, the raison d'etre that we once woke up in the morning and lived for. Hey Shaq, hey Lava, how you doing, man? Let's go.
Like the second line said, passed through the neighborhood, those who used to call Treme home say culture has become transient, leaving it with no sense of community. But where did Treme's soul go? According to the culture bearers, it left, right along with those who call the neighborhood home. Some willingly, others unwillingly.
The neighborhoods were just beautiful. They were just, just like in the 7th Ward, in the Treme, you'd walk through those neighborhoods, you could smell people cooking. You know, you could hear kids playing and laughing. You could hear people conversing on the steps. Everybody would see you and say hello. The part of the Treme that I knew coming up is that it's gone. The folks aren't there anymore. Unless you bring those people back, you'll never have that part of the Treme again. We may never meet again.
Jazz vocalist John Boutte has long been a vocal critic of the changes happening in Treme, changes he says forced out some of the poorest people who provide some of the richest cultural experiences. After Hurricane Katrina, a song he recorded about his life in Treme had resurfaced on the HBO series bearing the same name.
When you wrote that song,
Yes.
which you kind of had a resurgence with Treme.
Right, well, you know what? I wrote that song in 1993, and nobody cared about Treme.
Yeah.
Nobody cared about Treme, you know. And anybody who says different, I dare them to prove that to me.
The series featured musicians and characters throughout New Orleans as they attempted to recover after Hurricane Katrina. One of those musicians is Benny Jones, founder of the Treme Brass Band.
So they hired a bunch of people in the neighborhood. I was in the Treme series twice. I was in 2 series with the Treme movie. It really helped people out and got a chance to see what really went on in the neighborhood.
They painted this mural.
They painted a mural.
Benny was born in Treme, starting the Dirty Dozen Brass Band before branching off to start the Treme Brass Band. But even Benny can't deny the portrayal of Treme on screen, on the internet, just about anywhere, versus the reality of Treme in 2019 present a stark difference.
They had plenty of musicians in this neighborhood. There was plenty of culture. They had the Mardi Gras guys with the Mardi Gras Indians in the neighborhood. A bunch of family musicians come out of the neighborhood with the Jan Black, Smokey Johnson, Harry Nance, and John Boudreaux during the 80s and the 90s and the 70s. You could walk the border bar. There were plenty of live entertainment in this neighborhood.
So what is it like now?
Oh, it's gone. Oh, that's gone.
Architecture, bars, restaurants, neighbors, all gone, leaving Treme as a shadow of its former self. So what happened to Treme? Those who lived through it blame a myriad of issues, all in the name of urban renewal. In part 2 of my series, we explore how gentrification, urban renewal, and transportation projects literally bulldoze through Treme, forever changing its landscape as a community. We'll continue our special report tomorrow night at 10.